Do you get confused with German verbs? You see gehen, haben, sprechen, but then suddenly it turns into ich gehe, du gehst, sie geht, and you are like, what's happening? Don't worry, in this video I'm going to show you how German verb conjugation works, and I will also give you a step-by-step simple solution. So let's get started. So before we start with our actual lesson, let's understand what is verb conjugation. Conjugation is basically changing the verb depending on who is doing the action. Let's understand this through a mini story. Imagine a verb like a piece of clay. You can mold it depending on who you are talking about. For example, I eat, ich esse, you eat, du isst. So as you can see, we have adjusted the verb essen depending on the subject. For example, we said ich esse, but in case of du, you say du isst. Same verb, different shapes. That's the whole meaning of the verb conjugation. And here's an important thing to remember. In German, you must conjugate the verb correctly for the person. Like for each person, you have a different conjugated form. So let's continue with part number 2, which is meet the 6 players or known as pronouns in German. The most important thing is before you can conjugate, we must know who we are talking about. And that's why now we are going to take a look on personal pronouns in German. Okay. So on the left side, you can see we have the English personal pronouns, and on the right side, we have the German pronouns. So let's translate each of them. So I is in German ich, you informally, like if you want to say it to your friends, then you say du, then he, she, it is er, sie, es in German, then we have we is wir, you plural, like you guys are doing something, then you say ihr, then finally we have they or you, but formally, like if you have to address your boss or any respected person, you say you formally, but with the capital S. You can see Z, and normal Z you can see with small s. It's indicate they. Okay, they is for Z and you also Z, but in case of you have to use the capital case. So here's a quick tip. Z but with capital S is formal you. Like if you have to address your boss or some respected person, you say Z but with capital S. On the other hand, Z small s, it means basically they. If you want to say they are doing something, you say sie machen was. But in this Z, you use the small s. So your task is to memorize this first. Pronouns are your map before conjugating any verb. So let's continue with part number 3, which is regular verb conjugation. So from this part on, we are going to learn how to conjugate at first the regular verbs, then irregular verbs. And this is the base formula for regular verbs. At first, take the verb, then remove an at the end, and finally add the endings. Let's take an example with spielen. Spielen basically means to play. So on the left side we have the pronouns, and on the right side we have the verb form. Okay, so ich spiele. As you can see, you have removed the an, and then spiel, you have spiel, and then you have to add an ending. Okay, and for example, in case of ich, you say spiele. For du, you say spielst. As you have noticed, spiel remain the same. Okay, you have to just remove the an, and then you have to add an extra ending. Okay, then for du you say spielst, for as you say spielt, for wir spielen, for ihr spielt, and for sie and sie spielen. So as you can notice, spiel remain the same in each of the cases. So spiel, 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 but the ending will change. For example, in ich spiele, du spielst, er spielt, wir spielen, ihr spielt, and sie spielen. And here's the breakdown step by step. Take spielen, remove an. So if you remove the an, then you will have spiel, and then add the correct ending. So as you can see, for ich, you added a, for du, ste, for as te, for wir, an, for ihr, te, and for sie, an. So this is basically the ending after the spiel. Okay, so take the verb, remove the an, and then add these endings to the regular verbs. Hey, sorry for interruption, but if you are a beginner and want to pass your German A1 in just 4 weeks, then you can check out my fast track program down below in the description. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's continue with part number 4, which is practice example together, live. So let's practice what we have just learned. Verb, lernen, to learn. So now what you have to do is you have to conjugate the verb lernen for each of the personal pronouns. Okay, at first I will give you 3 seconds for each, and then we'll reveal the answer. Okay, let's do it. At first we have the ich pronoun, and how do you conjugate lernen for ich? You say ich lerne. Then for du lernst. Then we have as lernt. Then we have wir lernen. Then we have ihr, lernt, and sie, lernen. So these are basically the conjugated form of lernen for each of the personal pronouns. See, you are already conjugating like a German speaker. Now let's continue with part number 5. And here we have to tackle with the main boss, which is the irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are verbs that do not follow the regular conjugated rules when changing forms. Don't panic. The good news is most changes only happen in do and as forms. Let's see an example of fahren. Fahren means to drive. So let's see ich fahre. That is the same as the regular verb. So don't panic. Then we have du fährst. In this case, you have to change. You see, you don't say du fährst, you say du fährst. You have to change the entire verb unlike the regular verbs. Then we have as fährt. One more time, you have to change the entire verb instead the normal change like we have did in regular verbs. And the rest remain the same. Wir fahren, ihr fahrt, sie fahren. As you can see, only in case of do and as you have to change the entire thing. And I know exactly what are you thinking right now. You're thinking, bro, how to identify which verb is irregular and which verb is regular and how to conjugate them. To answer your question, I will show you verb conjugation website. So what you can do is you can just come to this website called conjugator.reverso.net. You can either write it by yourself or you can find the link down below in the description. So what you have to do is you have to fill in the box with the verb you want to search for. And let's say I want to search for the verb essen. Okay, so after searching for the verb, you can see it gave me the conjugated verb here. So for example, for ich, you say ich esse, du isst, isst, wir essen, ihr esst, sie essen. So just come to the website, write down your verb and you will find your conjugated form. Let's continue with the part number 6, which is real life sentences using conjugated verbs. Example sentences. At first we have ich spiele Fußball. Ich spiele Fußball. That means I play football. You can see we used spiele. Okay. For in case of ich, you say spiele. Then we have du lernst Deutsch. Du lernst Deutsch. And it means you are learning German. And finally we have er fährt nach Berlin. Er fährt nach Berlin. That means he is driving to Berlin. Normalerweise if you had ich, then you would say ich fahre nach Berlin. This is the same in regular as well as in irregular verbs. But as you remember, do and as have to change in irregular verb. So that's why you say er fährt nach Berlin. And here's a tip for you. Always try to think in complete sentences, not just words. Just like we have did in this example, we don't just say ich spiele, du spielst. We used as ich spiele Fußball. Or we don't just say ich lerne, du lernst. You say du lernst Deutsch or er fährt nach Berlin. And by doing this, you can memorize it for a long period of time. So here is a mini recap of the entire lesson. Super quick. Learn your pronouns. Don't mess up with that. You have to learn each and every personal pronouns. Then remove an and add the correct endings. Watch for vowel changes in irregular verbs. For example, in case of do and as, we didn't say du fährst, we said du fährst. As fährt. So you have to watch for the vowel changes. Then finally, practice, practice and practice. You don't have any alternative to that. You have to practice as much as you can. Practice makes the verbs stick to your head. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're a beginner and want to improve your German, then you can check out my free crash courses showing on the screen. And I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.